An anomaly is defined as anything that deviates from the expected, normal, or standard. This is quite a wide definition. An ant being slightly stronger than most of the others of its species is an anomaly. But so is something that breaks our perception of reality. Something that goes against everything we've ever known, bringing the nature of existence into question, is an anomaly. Something to be studied. When it gets swept away, unexplained, however much the anomaly has affected your life, you begin to feel a lot like that ant. Insignificant. My sister is an anomaly now. It started with a simple complaint about her hand feeling strange, a tingling sensation. The doctors almost flat out refused to do anything. I want to be angry, but then I remember telling her my own thoughts. It's nothing. Everyone gets weird feelings. It'll pass. It's what everyone told her. I suppose we thought we were reassuring her. Then the next symptom began. We awoke to her screaming, over and over. My hand is drooping! My hand is drooping! Without any context, what does that even mean? She knew exactly what it meant. She was the only one living this nightmare. Nobody could quite understand what she felt. I burst into her room seconds before our parents did the same. There she knelt on her bed, with the fingers of her right hand about twice as long as usual. I can feel them, she cried. They're trying to continue. My mother flicked the switch, perhaps hoping that our eyes deceived us in the dark. Middle of the night, in a very dim light, it seems to teeter right on the edge of reality. It's the perfect condition to conjure up an illusion of the mind. Yet this, right here, was as real as you. Her hand was stretched. My mother immediately dialed the emergency services whilst my father went into comfort mode. Hey, it's all right. Are you feeling okay? My sister sat for a moment staring at her hand. Her breathing remained constantly heavy. In the background, I could hear my mother on the phone, although I wasn't paying much attention. Yes, twice as long. She was asleep. No, I don't know how. I feel... She paused, perhaps focusing on the feeling, deciding whether or not she felt okay. How would she even describe okay in this moment? Long. My father and I glanced at each other for a moment. Was that meant to be a joke? I smiled awkwardly. What does that mean? She got up from her bed, making it slowly apparent to all of us that she was taller. Not by much, maybe an inch or two. But in the context of a human height overnight, that's a lot. The room fell silent. I think I could make out the operator on the other side of the phone trying to see if my mother was still there. Physically she was, but mentally, I think she was just worried for her daughter. What's happening to me? Her voice broke slightly. It broke all of us along with it. To sound so dazed and lost about your own self is heartbreaking. It was the last time I saw her with any description of human emotion. She lunged towards my mother in the doorway, not to hurt her, just to leave the room. Although, with all the urgency she had in her movement, I don't believe she would have cared if she hurt anybody on the way out. We all called out for her, but she didn't turn back around. She didn't speak. She just ran through the house. Leaving the light of her room, she blended into the shadows. I don't know if my mind deceived me, but I swear I saw her hit her head on the ceiling multiple times, as if she was growing further. Each time she did, she grunted with pain as if using a voice that was not her own. Each of us only seeing her from the corner of our eyes had managed to lose her in our own home. My father searched around upstairs whilst my mother, still on the phone, started wandering the street outside. Catching a glimpse of something out the back window of the kitchen, I stepped outside. I was afraid of what I might be walking into. What nightmare could be waiting for me? I decided that whatever it was, I owe it to my sister to join her in this. Slowly, I made my way towards the movement. She had wrapped herself around a tree in the garden, one we used to climb as kids. She spoke something that I could only just make out over the sound of my own heart pounding. Everything is long. Her voice, raspy and weak, frightened me. Her black hair, usually down to her shoulders, now found its way down to the floor. I couldn't see her fully in the night, but the moonlight allowed me to see her vague shape. She was elongated, more so than before. My voice shook as I spoke, trying to calm her. "We'll fix this." I held out my hand. For a moment, I thought she might hold out her own. Maybe she would have if the sirens weren't so loud. An ambulance at the front of the house caught her attention as she let go of the tree, her snake-like limbs falling to the ground as she made her way over to the fence. They never caught her. We never found her. Her funeral was held a month later. It's been 3 years. I still live in the same home. Her bedroom is almost exactly as it was. We keep her door open. Sometimes as I walk past, I imagine her sat in her bed. Her body is back to its regular self. "I'm okay now," she'll say. "You helped me." But it's a mirage, a trick of the mind. My sister as herself is no longer real. Is she still out there, stretched? I got my answer last night. Unable to sleep, I slowly became acutely aware of a tapping noise. I don't know how long it had been going before my mind allowed it to be perceived. Seconds? Minutes? Hours? I suppose it doesn't matter. Once I had heard it, it stayed. 5 taps, rhythmically pattering against my window, behind the curtain. Sick of the noise, I got up, ready to see tree branches blowing in the wind. Instead, I saw 5 long fingers, extending from below my vision. The palm of the hand seemed just on the edge of what I could see. A face, beginning halfway up the window and continuing far below, looked in at me. The eyes were long, with the open mouth being even longer. This was unmistakably my sister's face. Whether or not it's my sister is another question. I stood there for a moment, recoiling but not making a sound. Her appearance is not what scared me the most. My hand began to tingle.